So I mean, it's pretty much been you and your dad, man, kind of just doing it.
Yeah,
doing your thing.
up until that point. From the beginning, he was there. I dipped away and did the COD thing on the other label. Then I came back to him from 92 all the way up to 2000, probably 2000. That last album we did on Southwest Wholesale, then he just was like, I ain't fitting it no more. I'm done, And that's when I started doing it by myself, probably maybe 2001, something like that.
Yeah, talk about Southwest Wholesale, because I always talk about, like, I feel like, I mean, the game that changed, of course, from selling CDs and shit, but I feel like that plays such a pivotal part, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's missing from the South, I think, as far as with us really, like, getting that music out, because they were like a mini major, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. What they were a one-stop, and what they did they set up a platform for independent artists to really be independent, to build independent, and to reap the benefits of receiving more per unit than you would on a so-called major label, because you're talking about getting 50 cent maybe per unit if you on a major label, compared to Southwest Wholesale paying you $8 or $9. When I first got with Southwest Wholesale, they was giving you $9 a unit for a record that sell for $17, $18. You get $9 off of that, So that was like, that's big. That's why you didn't have to go platinum to eat. That's why Kiki and Pat and really everybody though, Blank, myself, ESG, all the artists that was coming out and popping in the Southwest Wholesale days, Lil Troy and them, everybody, man, was killing it. And then you look up and say, well, what's the numbers? 20,000, 30,000. If you really popping, you sold 100,000, something like that. Do you know the math on 100,000 times 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you selling them kind of units, you getting shows. So I mean, it was a real good thing, but you had to be. We didn't have the foresight to know that, okay, all good things come to an end. So some people, really nobody was really smart with their money. A lot of people ran through that money. You know what I'm saying? We did too. So
Yeah. And so, all right, so you leave your dad and you just kind of dropping these solo albums, dropping solo albums. But I know just it was a couple years ago you dropped was it Genius World Record or something for dropping like seven at one time.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. The idea about that, putting that together, how long it took. I mean, everything, man. Because
when I started to do it myself, I already knew everything about the game. Now you talking about 2001. I'm in my 30s now. I'm like, I've been whooped in the game now, so I'm good. But we dropped 2 group projects before that. Cause I had shut it down in 2000. I work in a 9 to 5.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What was the reason for it? Were you burned out or what?
I was burned out. I was like, man, this game here, man.
You say 2000, so this after the deal that went bad, and you
right after the No Mercy album.
Yeah.
I had went back to Southwest and I had a little slight falling out with them, but I was like, I'm done, man. Next thing you know, I'm sitting behind the desk, bail bonding. You know what I'm saying? I was working a 9 to 5, and I did that for like a year and a half. And one of my homies from Indiana, he would hit me up and he would say, man, you be on the message boards and rap message boards? I was like, nah, I don't be on no message board. What's up with that? He said, man, they be talking about you all the time on these message boards. I'm like, talking about what? And they just be giving you props. So I was like, cool. So I started reading them. I'll be at work on the computer, making sure the lady ain't coming. And I'm looking at the message boards. And they like, man, K-Rino, it was in the past tense. K-Rino used to be dope. K-Rino, he was popping back. It's like, man, I wish he'd come back. And I'm like, man, he boy talking about me like I'm out of there. So I got laid off in 2001, the middle of 2001. The lady called me in the office and she laid me off. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm finna rock this unemployment on these boys. and just ride it out. So I got with a lot of SPC, my homies, it was 10 of us. And we put out a group album called Personal Vendetta, first SPC album to come out. We put that out in 2002, put another one out in 2003, and in the same year, 2003, I still hadn't done no album yet. I put out a I don't call it the greatest hits because I ain't the rapper that got like hits. I just put like a best of collection out. I put that out in 2003. Put a compilation out too. I would not drop a solo, but I had made a solo because I got with Patrick Lewis from Jam Down. This was after Kiki had gone or whatever, but I got with Pat. Pat always wanted to work with me, and I went and did a full album at Jam Down that I had actually did in 01. And then Pat decided he didn't want to be in the game no more. So I'm like just sitting in there, man, I got a whole album done. So I'm putting out these compilations and doing that. And I ran into Pat one day. I'm over there by the reggae hut. I'm walking down the street. I'm running to Pat. I'm like, man, what's up, man? Like, you just disappeared on your boy. And he was like, nah, man, I ain't in that no more. I'm doing whatever he's doing. He was doing reggae festivals or whatever. I said, man, so what's up with that album? Because I knew me being with him, I couldn't claim ownership of it. He was like, man, you can have it. I ain't want to talk no more. I'm gone. Before you change your mind. So I put that one out. Then after that, that's when my
that's when you went on that run.
I started putting a minimum of 2 out a year. But as it went on, I'm putting out 3. It just kicked in. It just kicked in.
I had a partner, man. He would call my boy, shout out to Southside Chuck, man. That boy called me about you. It was at one point like multiple times. Man, K-Rino got something new, man. Check it out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I felt like I was making up for lost time because, like I said, I only dropped 3 projects in the whole 90s, you know? And I never wanted to be that kind of artist. I always wanted to be the kind. My favorite artists was KRS-One, Prince, people who always, you could depend on one a year. They gonna give you that one per year. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I gotta pick it up, bro. So I'm dropping 2, I'm dropping 3. And then by the time we got to 2016, I just got a wild album behind. I said, man, I'm gonna drop 7. You know, really the original thing was I'm gonna put out 100 songs at one time. That's what I said I was gonna do. And I was gonna put them out on iTunes or something. But then I was like, okay, well, how many albums would that be? So when I broke it down, so I put 12 on each one. I said, I ain't gonna do no 100. And then when it came to 84 some kind of way, 84 divided by 12 ended up being 7. So that's how the 7 came up.
Okay, so I mean, and that was like was that some Genius World record shit or some shit like that? Was it a record broke with that?
This what it was. We was wondering if it was a record. We was like, have anybody ever did that? So we started doing research and checking different cats. We would hear about somebody put out 4. Somebody put out this, but we never could. The most we got was this guy overseas that put out 4 at one time. And I'm like, man, ain't nobody put out 5 or 6. So I know nobody did 7, but with the Guinness Book, you have to put in an application to submit your request for the record. And we never did put the application. I never did it. But I did enough research to know that nobody had ever did that. So I was content with that. So people was like, man, you in the Guinness Book? I was like, nah, I ain't in the Guinness Book, but I know nobody did it. So people would come out later and say, oh, man, well, this guy, he put out, it's like, nah, it don't count if you already had stuff sitting up. If you already had stuff in your vault or you had songs you wrote when you was...
You talking about a fresh 7.
I'm talking about a brand new 7 specifically for that purpose. Nobody ever did that before.
How long did it take you to do that?
It took 9 months total. It took 6 months to write and 3 months to record. It was like, say, it was like a pregnancy. The baby dropped after 9 months. 7 babies. We dropped septuplets on them boys. Man,
yeah. So I mean, man, you've done a lot, man. If somebody has never heard your music, they heard the name, how would you describe K-Rino? You know what I'm saying? You as an artist, your music, what you getting across, like the whole
man, I just tell them, man, it's just multifaceted, bro, because I don't have one particular category. You're not gonna call me strictly a storyteller. You're not gonna call me strictly a lyricist. You're not gonna call me strictly a political / conscious rap. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere in to be. I tried to develop myself and train myself to do more than one type of rap well. Now, I can specialize. You may prefer the lyricism. You may prefer the storytelling, but I feel like I'm equal in all the categories as far as all those. And there's too many rappers who say, well, all he can do is this, or all he can do is that. But I don't put myself in that one category like that.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, shit, I mean, you talking about first record coming out 86, 87. It's 2019 and you still at it. Like, what keeps you motivated after all this, you know what I'm saying, all this time, man? You see the shifts in the game, the shift in the city, all this shit, you know?
mean, God bless me, man. I mean, it's like he sprinkled me. I always bring it right back to God. But the fans, just the people who support me, that's it. Because it'll just be a hobby if it were. We was talking about, before we started, we was talking about the show that we did in Fort Worth just this past weekend, Friday. And at one point in the show, I asked everybody in the crowd, because I actually brought out a bunch of the Real Chill records. I brought the original records. I brought them out that night. And people was tripping like, man, when you put this out? And I was like, put it out 87. And I held the record up and I say, how many of y'all out there in that crowd was born before 1980, before 1987, or what? I forgot how I phrased it. It was like, who wasn't born in 1987? That's what I said. And 90% of the crowd raised their hand.
No shit.
So I was like, okay, you know what? My fan base is getting younger, which is crazy to me. I turned 49 last week.
Man,
so
happy birthday. When your birthday?
The 9th.
Mine on the 6th.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Got some Virgo energy in here. It's going down.
So when all them hands went up that say they wasn't born when I put that record out, I'm like, man, so at minimum, these cats is in their 20s and early 30s.
Right.
You know, but 3 or 4 people came to me. We did a meet and greet afterwards. 3 or 4 people came to me to say they in college. So what keep you going is the perpetual changes and the perpetual additions to the fan base. Because when you put out that much music, you get discovered by new people every day, all around the world. People hit me up in my email. People hit me up on YouTube. They hit me on Facebook, and they say, I just found out about you 3 months ago. I just heard about you 2 years ago. I'm just getting up on your music. So it's like, okay, boom. They just heard about me 5 months ago. That just pushed me another 10 years ahead. It keep you relevant.
But like you say, I mean, this whole second run started with the message board, which was the internet. You know what I mean? And you know, being the type of artist that you are, the internet, you know, that's where you can go and really discover it for yourself. It ain't like back in the day where you really only got the radio or what you bought. You know what I mean? So I would imagine like them college kids probably nerding out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard this
well, I
K-Rino?
mean, it's absolutely that, because ain't no record stores no more. So how else are they discovering me other than the internet? You know, I'm doing the YouTube thing now, you know, so it's my YouTube channel has become another avenue to attract and bring in people. And we try to just be myself. Like, YouTube is popping right now because you got a lot of young 18, 19, 20, 22, 23-year-olds YouTubing and doing it the way they do it. I'm not going to get up there no 50 years old trying to do what they do. You know, that's like, you see, I come out there at 50 years old, I'm dressing like I'm 17. Like, you like a clown. You know. So I got to be me, but I can still participate in that, on that platform, but I got to do it my way. So I figured out, like, look, man, you ain't going to see me on there doing no pranks and all that, but I'm going to cover what I do and do it the way I do it. I'm going to speak on what's going on. And if it's real, it's going to attract all age demographics. It's not going to isolate anybody.